So I've heard so many people talking about the coveted, long-awaited, exclusive, early access release of Escape from Tarkov Arena. It's a standalone game mode that takes everything you love about Tarkov and throws it to the sidelines to focus on competitive, esports style arena gameplay. And it's kind of a mediocre experience. But here's the thing though, it doesn't need to be. Everything about Tarkov's moment-to-moment gameplay always felt a bit off to me. The recoil of the weapons, the player movement, even with the inertia patch and subsequent follow-up fixes, it always felt sluggish. And then when you combine that with the strange animation locks with their locomotion system, things just always felt clunky and a bit disconnected when you tried to do faster movement switches. The game isn't meant to be played like Call of Duty, where these animation switches and movement don't feel as disconnected. But when you bring this style of game into an arena shooter setting where W keying and faster movement is the way to dominate, this is when you start to lose me a bit. I was surprised to see the hype for Arena on day one, seeing as it takes everything that I actually find intriguing about Tarkov away from the experience completely. Things like weapon customization, inventory management, quests. I feel like Arena takes everything that was unique and separated Tarkov from the rest and kind of threw it to the wayside to put to the forefront that less than stellar gunplay. 3 days ago at the time of recording this video, and I'm sure a lot of you guys have already left comments, a huge patch for both EFT and Arena released, completely overhauling the recoil. And I have to say, as somebody who hated the game 2 weeks ago, this is easily the best thing to happen to Tarkov in years, and made me go from wanting to rip what little hair I have left out of my skull to genuinely enjoying the experience of Arena. Now, don't get me wrong, the entire package of Arena still makes 0 sense to me, but the moment-to-moment gameplay has improved significantly since this patch released. Let's talk about what Arena is and what it has to offer you for $35 US. What you have at launch is 5 maps designed to play like airsoft arenas. I keep comparing it to Shipment from Call of Duty, with just random props placed everywhere for no real reason outside of making lanes with cover, which in my opinion doesn't make for good maps, let alone memorable ones. All of these 3D assets are already from Tarkov, which brings up my next point. Why is there only 5 maps at launch when this game was announced to be in development in, 2017? I think we first started hearing about Arena. With how haphazardly these maps were put together, I feel like a small team of developers could have banged out 20 to 30 of these maps if this is the way that they're being built. It feels like they took the same philosophy that they did with Hired Ops in terms of their map design and brought it to Tarkov. This might be a controversial opinion, but I think that Sawmill is one of the best designed maps in terms of verticality and in terms of just not looking at a flat plane with props laid everywhere, even though I think Sawmill is one of the worst maps in the game based on its visibility and the fact that guys can just like bush Wookiee camp. But I guess that is Tarkov, right? But it just doesn't work for an arena setting. But I would love to see maps that play with verticality just a little bit more often. Add hilltops with sniper towers on top. There's one map that basically plays like a paintball arena, and there's a tower on each side where players can snipe from, but it's still just a flat plane. If you were to add hills to this and have the towers on top, and it just adds more variety to the maps instead of just moving W, A, and D in between props and holding the trigger. You have 2 game modes, a TDM mode and a tournament mode. And I'd like to tell you that TDM is just your basic TDM mode because that would keep it simple. But games like Caliber have done what Tarkov Arena is doing in their TDM mode, where if a match is going on too long, it spawns a random objective that you have to go capture. It's a basic capture the flag. Think of something like the Gulag. If you're in there for too long, an objective pops up and you have to go capture it. The problem with Tarkov is these are randomly placed around the map, and it becomes completely RNG if you happen to be on one end of the map and the objective spawns on the complete opposite side where an enemy might be sitting. Well, you're shit out of luck. You lost the game. Even if you're moving around hunting for this guy, it doesn't matter. They introduced this RNG element to it, and I don't understand why games do this because it is a terrible mechanic. I can't count the amount of times that we have lost a game because we just happen to be on the opposite end of Sawmill from where the flag spawns, and you just don't have enough time to run there to get onto the point while the other team is capturing it. It's just fucking stupid. And in the nicest way possible, the tournament mode feels like they didn't even attempt to even plan to make an engaging game mode for everybody in the tournament. Compare it to the tournament mode in the finals, where there are multiple games going on at the same time, so you're always in the action. One of the only things that I enjoyed about Call of Duty Vanguard at the time was their Champion Hill mode, which did the same thing. There's multiple arenas with multiple games going on in a bracket-style game mode where you're consistently playing and moving forward to fight for the top spot. This mode, however, takes 4 teams and makes 2 of them just sit up top like it's a gulag in Warzone, and you just kind of have to sit there and watch the other teams fight. There's nothing to do but run around and potentially get shot. And you're there a long time. On top of the queue times, the downtime here is like 5, potentially even more minutes at a time in between the games you get to play. You're in the arena for less time than you're sitting on top trying to look over rails. It's very weird. Also, I think the idea of preset kits is a strange one when I think one of the driving factors of Tarkov's success is the fact that people call it gun porn. You can go into the depths of all of these different guns and put on different parts. That's the whole point of Tarkov. And when you have preset kits that you can't really customize, that kind of just takes all of that and just throws it away. In discussions I've had, I've heard people say that eventually you're going to be able to take your loadouts from Escape from Tarkov and bring them into Arena. I don't know if that's going to happen anytime soon, but regardless, it's not in there now, and I'm sure they're doing it for balancing and testing purposes. But after playing games like Call of Duty and, I mean, fuck me, Escape from Tarkov, and being able to customize your kits, it just feels weird that it's not here. Also, it feels like they didn't even put any thought into like the kit system in general. Yeah, you can level up and unlock different kits, but you can't change them throughout the game. So if you jump in and you're using a weapon and a guy on the other team has a better kit than you and you want to try to change it to switch things up to try and get the better, you can't do anything. You're stuck with whatever you chose going into the match. I would have loved to see something kind of akin to a CSGO where there's an in-game, in-match economy where you can buy weapons, buy, you know, helmets and armor on a per round basis based on how good you did in the round before. This is a much better system than what they have now. And yeah, you could say that, oh, they'd just be copying CSGO. Who cares? It plays better in that regard than it does here. And the reason that I'm being so, I guess you would say, neutral about this is because there is a good foundation here for something that could turn into an incredible experience in the future. And if anybody knows BSG and their timelines for development, it's going to be quite a long time before they turn it into something that I think is going to gather a mass appeal. I think the people that are playing this right now are fans of Tarkov and fans of keying through Shoreline and getting kills. So of course you're going to gravitate towards something like this. But I think that novelty is going to wear off when you realize that nothing about this is really Tarkov-esque outside of the vibe and the tone of all of these environments. And obviously you have that gunplay that if you're a fan of it, you're going to like it. I myself am just not the biggest fan of Tarkov's gunplay. Everything that I do like about Tarkov isn't present in this mode, so clearly this game isn't meant for me. If you have Edge of Darkness, you should have access, even though I will say the rollout for this mode has been catastrophic. If you look at social media, some people not getting in at all, some people having to file support tickets to get access to it. I'll say this, if you have Edge of Darkness, you should be able to get into Arena and you can try it out. And I do know there's people that are looking at this as a way to like kind of hone up on their skills before they get into the extraction shooter side. I don't know if that's going to work as well as people think because the pacings are just so different, right? People can jump into Tarkov and you might have a 30-minute game ahead of you where you're going to be moving, kind of crouching, sneaking. Like Arena is just W key run and shoot. So like, yeah, you could get comfortable with the weapons, but the great thing about Tarkov, like the extraction shooter side, is like you can customize your weapons and build them the way you want. You can't even really do that over here, so it's not like you're going to be playing with the weapons you most likely want to use in Tarkov. Like, I don't know. There's a lot of disconnects for me in why this actually exists and why it came out with such little content. But if you're enjoying the game, hey, more power to you. As always, my name is Big Fry. I cover everything that I possibly can FPS. So if you guys like that, leave a like down below and subscribe for more videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.